Hello, my beautiful friends. So today we're talking about Chaturanga. And to quickly demystify it, Chaturanga is simply a plank with bent elbows. And since your plank is so key in your Chaturanga, we're going to start there. But before we do, I want to give this quick disclaimer, because as information is more learned about the body, as that information trickles down to yoga, it's kind of created two schools of thought. The old school, very traditional, the way that it's always been done. And the new school, where we take that information, we apply it to the body, to the poses, tweaking them, changing them to find the most sustainable, beneficial way of working with our bodies. I'm not saying either one of them is more right or more wrong. You decide, it's your practice. But I'm going to share with you today what I've learned from my teachers as well as physical therapists. And if you are very interested in the anatomy and physiology of the body and how it relates to yoga, I would highly recommend Laura Hyman. I'm going to link her channel down below, but she's fascinating. She's a physical therapist as well as a yogini, and she has some amazing information. So we're going to get started on our back, because laying on your back is a wonderful place to start to feel the engagement that you're going to need for your plank. So lowering all the way down. So in a plank, we are looking for flatness across the top of the body. The hip flexors are going to be completely flat, as they are when you lay on your back. Point the toes up and start to pull the toes in towards you and feel the heels push away. Maybe you feel the backs of your legs push down into the mat. And we're going to reach our arms up. Palms are flat up to the sky. And as you press the heels towards the sky, feel the shoulder blades press down into the mat beneath you. Start to tuck your tailbone, reaching it towards the heels as you pull that belly firmly down. You're almost like trying to press the lower portion of your back, your low back, into the mat. We're not going to, hopefully not going to get there, but we want to feel that engagement almost like we're trying to push our low back down into the mat. So feel your shoulder blades pull together on your back as you push them into the mat. Push the heels away from you, pull the toes in, super engaged through the legs. Feel that belly pull and tailbone reaching for the heels, super strong and engaged. And the front of the body is flat. Long neck, flat hip flexors, toned belly, strong straight legs. Go ahead and relax, release that. And come back up to seated. So that's what we're going to look for in our plank. So go ahead and find your way to your hands and your knees. So I was talking with a physical therapist one time about plank, and he said that if you're doing plank right, it should be the worst experience of your life, and you should not be able to hold it for more than 60 seconds. Because what he was saying is that you're looking for that complete engagement, and holding the muscles that tight and that firm for that long is going to be very difficult. And it's okay. It's actually more beneficial, according to what I've learned, to hold your plank super strong, find that engagement, and then soften and relax. And then come back into it super strong, hold it, and then soften and relax, rather than holding it for an extended period of time without that muscle engagement there. So go ahead and find your way, hands and knees. And we're going to look at the two most common mistakes real quick. So walk your knees back. So one of the common mistakes that we see is the hips are high up, and our hip crease is not completely flat as it was when we were on our backs. The other one is that the core is loose and not engaged, and so the hips sink down. And again, we're not flat across the front of our body. So the most, how do I say this? The easiest way, there we go, to remedy the piking up of the hips, is to start from your belly. It's harder to pike the hips up when you start from your belly than to come in from your tabletop. So we're going to push ourselves up to our half plank. The knees are down. And we're going to start to press down into the hands and find that engagement of the shoulder blades strong on the back, like you were pushing them down into the back, and the back is pushing up into the shoulder blades. The neck is nice and long. The tailbone reaches towards the heels. I'm already shaking. The lower belly pulls in. Feel those hip points pull up towards the lower ribs, completely flat across the front of the body. And then feel the shins press down into the ground, getting some engagement into those legs. Take a deep inhale here. Exhale, lower it down. Little wiggle out through the hips, just soften. Woo! So that is our half plank. And I will be completely honest with you. When I'm in a vinyasa class, if I can talk, when I'm in a vinyasa class, I will do half, if not more, of my chaturangas starting from my half plank, because I get more engagement and a stronger plank to chaturanga to back bend starting there than I do from a full plank. I'm still building that strength in order to really pound out those full planked chaturangas. So I will maybe do 1 or 2 full planks to chaturangas and then a couple of the half planks to chaturangas as I flow through the class, because I prefer to do a strong chaturanga with good form than a cheap full plank chaturanga, if that makes any sense. So let's go ahead and look at our chaturanga from our half plank. So we're going lower down onto our belly so that as we push up, we feel that flatness across the front of the body. We find that engagement, and then we're going to turn the eyes of the elbows forward, strong shoulders on your back. And as you bend into the elbows stay hugged in close to the sides of the body. Keeping the chest as open as you can. The front of the body stays flat. You hold on to that plank shape as you lower yourself down. And the goal is to have the chest and the hips hit the mat at the same time. So go ahead and push it back up. Find that engagement, that flatness across the front of the body. Neck is nice and long. Shoulders are strong. Eyes of the elbows turn forward. Bend into the elbows just an inch or two to start so that you can really make sure that those elbows are hugged in tight. The core is in tight. And with that long, firm plank, you touch it down. Beautiful. Push it back up. And push it back, child's pose. So now let's look at full plank, full chaturanga. So we're going to find that same flatness across the top of the body. And let's start from our mat, from our belly. And we're going to push it up to our half plank. And then we're going to tuck the toes and push out through the heels to straighten the knees. So a lot of times we drop our head, keep the neck nice and long, spine in line. Feel the heels push back, feel the toes pull in, and you're going to feel those legs fire up. Press the heart back into the shoulders and the shoulders back into the heart. Feel the tailbone reach towards the heels and the lower belly pull in. Take a deep inhale. And drop the knees. Lower it down. Take a moment. Rest. So go ahead and push yourself back up. So as we look at our full plank chaturanga, it's just a full plank with bent elbows. Yes. Super easy. Not. So what's traditionally taught is that from your full plank, You push yourself forward onto your tippy toes so that when we bend into the elbows, the elbow and the wrist are stacked and the elbow is bent at a 90-degree angle. With our full plank chaturanga, we're only lowering in halfway. So the elbow's bent at 90 degrees. So what Laura Hyman teaches, and what I've learned from her, is that the shoulder is very mobile. It's one of the most, if not the most, mobile joints in the body. And when we're lowering ourselves in, holding all of our weight in our arms, our shoulders can start to round forward. And instead of using the muscles to hold the shoulder socket in place, we're relying on the passive joints, the ligaments and the tendons. And while they will hold you, once those stretch out, they don't come back. And so I teach my class now to do it the way that Laura teaches, so that you're using the muscles to maintain the shoulders and not relying on those passive support. So what I teach, what you're going to learn today, is from your plank, you glue those shoulders onto your back. You keep that chest as open as you can, and you bend into the elbows as far as you can while keeping that strong chest. And it might be an inch or two, it might be further. Again, you're not lowering in more than halfway, but you're keeping that long front of the body. And a lot of times we have a tendency to think down, and our chin starts to drop and our belly starts to drop. We want to keep everything super strong, super in line. It's just a plank with bent elbows. It's not this with bent elbows. So let's go ahead and play with it. So we're going to find our full plank. Let's start from our belly, because we are learning that muscle memory to not pike our hips up in our plank. So lifting up from there, tucking the toes, pushing out through the heels, pulling in through the toes, reach the tailbone towards the heels, strong core, press down through the hands as the elbows are forward, and shoulders are on your back so that your chest is open. Neck is nice and long. Take a deep inhale. Exhale, bend into the elbows, pull that core back in, open the chest, neck is nice and long. And then you can push it forward, rolling over the toes, finding your up dog. Drop the knees, push it back. Now, I'm not going to play with you. It's hard. Anyone that makes it easy, they are liars. It is super hard. And it will get easier over time, over practice. Your muscles are going to learn those particular movements, but don't feel like you have to do every chaturanga you're offered in class. Take what you need, leave the rest behind. Don't feel like you have to do every chaturanga from full plank. Drop your knees when you're feeling tired, but you still want to keep going. This is your practice. And vice versa. If you've been taking chaturanga from your knees, maybe you're feeling super strong and you want to go for that full chaturanga, play with it. But listening to your body, finding what works best for you. I've said this before, I'll say it again. I view the poses as a template, that you don't try to fit your body into this mold. Use the template and then maneuver it, work with it until it fits your body. That's just the way I view it. So let's play with it one more time. So finding your plank, just really giving myself a chance to breathe. Lower yourself down. And we'll push it up, half plank, super strong here. Tuck the toes, lift it up, so strong here. Push out to the heels, feel those legs super strong, engaged. Reach the tailbone down, pull the belly up, grip down through the fingers, take a deep inhale, exhale, bend into the elbows, neck's in line, tailbone tucks a little bit more, core engages, chest is open, push it forward, roll over the toes, up dog. And why not? We'll go all the way downward facing dog. Pedaling out through the feet. After doing chaturanga a couple of times, downward facing dog really starts to feel like a resting pose. Take one more deep inhale. Slow exhale out. And then drop the knees. So I hope that you found this of some benefit. I hope that you're able to play with your chaturanga, find what works best for you, help strengthen your body. If you are a physical therapist, if you are really interested in anatomy and physiology and the combination of yoga, and you have more information that I left out or I might not know, please leave it in the comments down below. I love learning along with you guys. So until we meet on our mats again, namaste.